guys, and welcome to another episode of Military Spouse to Millionaire. Today, we are going to be unpacking what it's like to actually be a real estate agent, and not just day-to-day life, but pay, compensation, hours, workload, stresses, pet peeves, really just all of the good, all of the bad. And please know that none of this is meant to seem like I don't very much enjoy what I do. I have a huge passion and am still insanely driven after 7 years to be in this industry and constantly learning and always helping military families. But just like any job, it comes with good, it comes with bad. And I just feel that I am doing a huge service, I guess, is how I see it, by just laying bare what it's actually like, because I think real estate is one of the most romanticized professions or careers out there. And that's largely because of HGTV and things like that, which I I still to this day will watch Fixer Upper if it's on. And I'm like, I love you, Joanna Gaines. But I don't always think that those shows are accurate, spot on representations of what it's like to actually be in the real estate industry, especially when it comes to compensation or pay that real estate agents get. So something that I hear often is, wow, it must be so nice to get a $10,000 check, or wow, real estate agents make so much money. And I'm not saying I don't make good money. That is not the point of this episode. And the point of this episode is not to talk shit about being a real estate agent, but it is a very, very high demand, high stress, high stakes. You're helping someone as a real estate agent, and I help people every day make, especially here in Hawaii, the biggest purchases that they're going to make in their lives, more than likely. So it's definitely something that you have to do right every single time. There's not a lot of room for error. People are literally trusting you with, their financial futures, because if you make a bad investment and it's $1 million bad investment, that can really be a financial hit. So that's not something that I take lightly. And it's not something that any agent should take lightly. So this all stems from 7 years of doing this, constantly having, spouses or service members getting out of the military. 2 guys on my team right now were captains in the Army and did skill bridge with me and became real estate agents. So people seeking me out for mentorship or picking my brain about getting into the industry is super common in my world. Not too long ago, I even sat down with another agent at my brokerage who is newer, and she just wanted to pick my brain about, hey, leads and stress and how do you manage things. and I'm here for all of those mentorship types of things. That's very important to me to give back in that way to our community. But most people don't get what they want or expect from me, in the sense that I am not normally very encouraging of people. People say, hey, I want to be a real estate agent. I say, okay, go get your license and come talk to me. And people think they want to be real estate agents because, again, you see HGTV. You go to 3 houses, someone makes an offer, it gets accepted, cut to giving them their keys. And the reality of it, especially for my business model, and obviously I'm going to be talking a lot about that specifically, because that is the only thing that I can accurately speak on, and not all agents have the same business model as me or would give as many hours to a client as I tend to do, because my business model is a little bit different in the sense that I work almost exclusively with military families who are on their way to this island. So I sometimes start talking to people 6, 7, 8 months, sometimes longer, before they actually get here. And the conversations normally start out with their moves, they're stressed about getting here, their pets, their kids, of course, housing. That's always a component of any move. But it's not just always solely fixated on housing. I pride myself, and it's always going to be a very large component of my business model, to help incoming military families get here. Even if you call me a day before you arrive and say, hey, I changed my mind, I'm going to rent or live on post, that's fine. I'm still here always as a resource for helping you move on and off this island. So that being said, I tend to get a hold of people or get recommended to talk to people months before they get here. I send them my PCS packet. They listen through my PCS packet. Then I hop on a phone call with them. We have our phone call. We talk about all the things. Obviously, housing options fundamentally is in every single phone call that I make, not only because I'm a realtor, but because we need a place to live as a military family getting to a new destination. So yes, all of that ties together. And then sometimes, honestly, I set a reminder to check in with them in 2 months. Like if you're 9 months out from getting here, I'm not going to bother you every month like, hey, how you doing? But 2 months, 3 months, if it's around the holidays, I'll set a reminder to, wish happy holidays, happy new year, whatever. But normally after phone calls, I set people up in the MLS and I'm constantly checking their search, seeing what houses they like, sort of sometimes reaching out to them like, hey, I actually was in this home in person. I have a video tour. Do you want me to send it to you? Just points of engagement throughout the months. And then also fielding questions that they have about their upcoming move. So by the time someone gets here after maybe 6 months, I have already put countless hours building this trust with them, which is perfect. That's my business model. That's what I want to do. But you see agents getting these, like I just had a closing the other day and I wrote down all the math because I didn't want to give inaccurate information or in the moment have to like think, about like, oh, what is 10% of that? So I just had a closing the other day. It was a $500,000 property. My commission on that was 2.5% of the sales price. So my check was $12,500. Now, something that a lot of people out there just in the wider world don't factor in is, yes, you see agents getting these big checks. You're like, wow, you got a $12,000 check. Must be nice. But number one, you're not accounting for all the hours that I worked to get that check, which I will circle back to. Most agents, you guys, have some sort of split with the brokerage that they work at. Now, a lot of brokerages are moving towards or have caps that agents can try to hit, and then they get 100% of their commission. So there are definitely a lot of options for that. But I would say pretty commonly, if you're at a smaller brokerage like the one I hang my license at, it's an 80-20 split, which means I get 80%. The brokerage, every deal that I close, the brokerage gets 20% of my deal. Now, I am at a small brokerage and I am their top producer and I do have a cap. So I pay them a set amount every year. Once I hit that set amount, I do get 100% of my commissions for the rest of the year. But not all agents have that. And furthermore, even if they do have it, not all agents hit their cap. So they could be giving 20% of their deals all year and never cap out and never get 100%. If you work at a larger brokerage, which full disclosure, I have never worked at a large brokerage because they take more of your money. I have heard that some large brokerages, like the kind of bigger name brokerages that you would just know just from being in the wide world, they do 60-40, 70-30, which means as an agent, I'm giving 40% of a commission check to a brokerage. But let's just talk about me specifically at a small brokerage. Before I hit my cap, I would give away $2,500. Of my $12,500, I'm giving $2,500 to my broker to hang my license at his brokerage. So that's, the brokerage split. Then I have $10,000 left, which $10,000 is by no means a small amount of money. However, I'm an independent contractor. So on top of waking up technically unemployed every day, I also have to pay my own taxes and I have to pay my own business expenses. So when you go to a 9-to-5 office job, you go there and you have, printer paper that's just there in the office and the printer just has ink and it's there in the office and, pens and they pay for your business cards and like whatever. I'm an independent contractor, so I have to cover all those costs. My gift bags, I have to order them. The towels that are in them, I have to order them and pay for them. All the supplies that are in there, I have to pay for them. Folders that I give out to clients with their MLS sheets in them, I have to pay for them and I have to pay my own taxes. So immediately in my world, per what my accountant tells me to do so that I don't owe a boatload of money at the end of every year, I put 50% of every check that I get goes into an account for taxes and business expenses, which leaves me like take home $5,000, which again, I'm not trying to say that $5,000 isn't a healthy chunk of money. But when you break down how many hours that I work to make that $5,000, I am sorry, I am not overpaid. I earn every single penny of that $5,000 helping people make the biggest investments or sell the biggest investments and cash in on them of their lives. It is a huge responsibility. And furthermore, for all the people out there who say, I want to make good money is reason number one that people tell me they want to be a realtor. Like, I want to make good money. I want to have a career that pays me a lot of money, which is fine. Like, I'm not talking shit about that at all. Be ambitious. The next thing people say, I want to be a realtor or I want to get into real estate because I want to make my own schedule. You guys, I am sorry to tell you, I do not make my own schedule. No realtor out there, and certainly no realtor that's actually doing a fair amount of business, no realtor out there is making their own damn schedule. Our clients make our schedule, which results in us working nights, weekends, holidays. Whenever regular 9 to 5 people are off work, that is when we are working. So if you are, a single parent and you don't have reliable childcare in the evenings or on the weekends, you probably shouldn't put all your eggs in the I'm going to get into real estate basket, because nights and weekends and holidays is when you're going to be working the most, which for a normal job, a 9 to 5 job, if you're working nights or weekends or holidays or whatever, sometimes you're going to get overtime. You're going to get extra compensation for working on those like odd hours or working more than 8 hours in a day or working more than 40 hours in a week. You guys, there's no overtime in real estate. I'm working nights, weekends, and holidays for the same exact pay as if I were to just work Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. But if I worked Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, that wouldn't work. I wouldn't get any transactions done because nights, weekends, and holidays is when my clients need me. So I've shown houses on Christmas Eve. I've answered client calls, texts, emails that are in crisis on Christmas Day because they can't figure out something in their electrical panel or whatever. It doesn't stop. And yes, that is a choice. I will say that not all agents operate or move and have the same business model that I do. And again, I'm just speaking from my perspective, like my business methodology, my model, what I do. But I am also a top producing agent. There are 10,000 real estate agents on this island. I last year was ranked number 23. So I am speaking from a place of talking to other people who I assume want to get into this industry, not to half-ass it. If you tell me you want to get into this industry, you want to make it in this industry, I feel strongly that I know what it takes to do that. And being available nights, weekends, holidays, all day, every day is what it takes, because there are 9,999 other people out there behind me that would love that business if I'm not attentive to it. So there is no work-life balance. I had a new agent ask me that one time. I was sitting down to sort of interview her, and she said, "How do you find work-life balance?" And honestly, I was so taken back in the moment, I can't even tell you what I said. I probably like, I don't. There's no work-life balance, especially in the beginning. So all of that to say, I estimate that there are times where I put 100 hours into a transaction to get it from start to finish. And by start to finish, I mean, I send them the packet. I'm talking to them for 6 months before they get here. I'm welcoming them to the island. I'm setting up their showings, going to the showings, advising on offers. You guys, all of that I just talked about, hours and hours and hours and hours of work, sometimes results in the client telling me, "Oh, we've looked at a few things and we're just going to go live on post." And then I get nothing. I've worked all that time, done all these things, and I get nothing because they're going to live on post with the bugs and the mold and the jet fuel and the power outages because they don't want to sacrifice square footage or whatever. Sometimes that happens. So just because you're talking to someone for 6 months or 3 months or whatever, just because someone calls you and is interested in buying a home, you can do all of this work and it result in nothing. But let's say I spent 100 hours on this transaction from start to finish. And everything I just mentioned, that wasn't even talking about being in contract. That wasn't like going to the home inspection, reviewing and explaining the seller's disclosure, reviewing and going through and talking about the association documents, or seeing the final walkthrough. Anything to do with the actual transaction wasn't even mentioned in all of that other stuff that I just talked about 6 months leading up to they're on island, let's go house hunting. And that's not including all of the kind of messaging with agents during a transaction, messaging with clients during a transaction. Clients have questions, you guys. Like, many of my past clients are going to be listening to this, and that's fine. You should have questions. You should ask them. That is literally why I'm here. But you have questions that I'm answering while I'm showing other people houses, or while I'm reviewing SRPDs for other people, or on a client call with somebody else. Like, I am constantly doing like 15 different things for 15 or 20 different people all the time. 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm answering text messages. Sometimes if I'm awake at midnight, I'm answering text messages because clients are on the East Coast and they're getting up for work and they shoot me a quick text before they go into the office. It is nonstop. If I work 100 hours for a transaction, that would result, let me see my notes, 100 hours in a transaction means I make $50 an hour, 50. To put that in perspective, here in Hawaii, I pay my trainer $75 an hour. And not that she's not worth it, and not that I feel like that's an unreasonable price, but it's not helping someone with the biggest financial decision of their life. So say it's an easy transaction and I only work 50 hours. I get paid $100 an hour, which again, I do not feel that I am overpaid, because the liability and risk and the absolute gravity of the nature of what I'm helping someone to achieve is extraordinary and does put a lot of pressure and time demands on me, which again, I don't want anyone to listen to this episode and be like, man, she's just bitching about her job. I love my job. I am extremely passionate about what I get to do, but I'm so passionate about it that when I'm out rolling around with people, and I talked about this in one of my other episodes, I would say 1 out of every 3 clients I take out at some point is like, I should get into real estate. And okay, do it, but only if you're comfortable with these things. Because if you want work-life balance, this is not the career for you. If you want to set schedule or think you get to make your own schedule doing this, this is not the career for you. You guys, I just looked up this statistic before I started filming this, so I was 100% sure to be accurate. Per the National Association of Realtors, in year one realtors, 75% fail rate in their first year. Within the first 5 years of being a real estate agent, 87% fail rate. That's crazy. That is crazy. If I had known those statistics, I don't know that I would have embarked on doing this, because if I was going in for an operation and it had a 75% chance of failure, or if I was working with a lawyer and he told me that I had an 87% chance of losing the case, those are not good odds. Those are very scary odds. So if you're interested in getting into real estate, I would say have a good business model going into it. Like before you're even licensed, have a business model. Know, where are you getting your leads? How are you going to get business? Now, if you work and live in some teeny tiny town that you know everybody and their brother, and you can have like a really strong networking and family friends give you business and whatever, that's a great way. But if you're a military spouse who thinks that you can become a realtor because you can take it with you wherever you go, not saying that that is impossible, but I'm saying every time you move, you have to find a new client base. You have to hustle again to get established. So have a business model and know going into it that there is a lot of upfront cost and there is an extremely high fail rate to getting into this industry. And it is way, 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 way more time consuming than people think. As an example, I am filming this and it's a Sunday. I literally got home from showing houses, came up here to film this because my social media person needs it to start editing and I am very late getting it to her. So I need to get this done and I was dressed and reasonably presentable. So here we are. My day consisted of playing pickleball this morning from 8 to 9, having breakfast with my pickleball friends from 9 to 10, coming home, showering, getting ready from 10 to 11, and then showing houses, texting a few people who text me while I was showing houses, either my transaction managers or clients, getting home, going through all of my Instagram and Facebook messages that I got because earlier today at breakfast, I commented on a Facebook post that then 5 or 6 other people requested my PCS packet. So I sent it to all of them and then they're responding back. So then I have to respond back to them because again, there are 9,999 other people behind me that would love to respond to them. So you got to do it. Now it's 5:28 on a Sunday night and I'm recording this. After that, I am going to go through the 16 text messages that are on my phone waiting for me and go through my emails. And I'm going to look up comparable sales for one of the clients that I was out house hunting with today and send it to them and answer any emails that need my attention and sort of prep for tomorrow because tomorrow's Monday. And normally that means writing offers, submitting offers, and these are just for my buyer clients. This isn't even juggling listings that I have going and reviewing home inspection requests that are coming in on my listing and talking to my seller about those requests and making them see that, yes, I know it's annoying that they want you to blah, 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 but we're trying to sell your house and this is a reasonable request, so we should do it. There is just so much time management, people management, personality management, knowing the market, being able to explain to people. As an example, in 2021, when I was explaining to people that they had to offer $30,000 or $40,000 over list price to get a home and had to be willing to cover in cash any appraisal deficit that might have come up, explaining that to people, having that level of confidence and knowledge in the market is not an easy thing to achieve. That takes time. It takes time and energy and effort on top of all of these other things that are always needing to be done. And then on top of that, that's just the actual work I do as a realtor. That's just realtor work. That's not including sitting down to record stuff like this or meeting with my social media manager once or twice a week to film B-roll content, film memes or dumb shit you guys see me doing on TikTok, or, strategizing over content for the future or projects that we have going on, like a texting platform that I'm trying to get up and running, what's going to be in this month's newsletter. And yes, I do have a lot of help and I have people that do a lot of the heavy lifting because I've developed those processes over years of doing this because I very quickly realized shit, this is all too much. It's all too much to do. That's not including past client follow-up, planning client events, attending client events. You guys, I could probably make an hour-long video about just the minutia and everything that goes into being a real estate agent, listing appointments, going to put signs and lock boxes on properties. I mentioned earlier, attending open house or attending open houses. Yeah, if I have a listing, sitting an open house, going to home inspections, going to final walkthroughs, going to give clients their keys. These are all great things, but in the grand scope of my day and as far as hours given to a transaction, they're all things that need to be counted and weighed against, realtors make so much money. And it's just really not at all, I think, accurately represented in our media, online or on TV. Real estate is very rewarding. Obviously, I got into real estate professionally because I was very successful at it personally with my husband, and that led me to have a very strong passion and drive to educate other people. if I did not have that personal experience, and if my drive wasn't coming from somewhere like really fundamentally impactful that just drives me every single day, when we have bad transactions, rough transactions, other agents are difficult to deal with, like not every transaction is smooth sailing, like knock on wood, but that passion, that genuine, I'm doing this because of this reason, that is what sees you through. So if you're not someone who really has some sort of like fundamental drive that just is going to sustain you when the real estate waters get rough or tedious, or you're burnt out, or, whatever, I don't think you're going to make it. And again, I don't mean to sound harsh when I say that. I'm not discouraging anybody from giving this a shot. But if you want to give this a shot because you think it's a great way to make a quick buck, or if it looks easy, or if you want to make your own schedule, or any of those types of things, real estate is not going to be for you. You do not make your own schedule. It is hard work. It is a lot of stress. It is a lot of hours. It's very, very demanding. And you do have to have a just solid, true passion and very good reason behind why you want to do what you are doing in real estate. And that's just how I feel about that. That being said, mentorship is obviously a huge thing for me. I do definitely believe in someone pursuing this if they think it's for them. So as always, if you have questions, I know I've made it sound so appealing, definitely reach out to me. It is a very rewarding career, you guys. I just want to kind of demystify it a little bit. There is no better feeling. Well, pause. I used to think there was no better feeling than giving someone the keys to their home, especially if they're like a new couple and it's their first house and you're like, oh, this is their first home together. Or if they have a young family and the kids are picking out their rooms, like just pull on my heartstrings. It is the sweetest thing ever. I used to think that was the best part. I was wrong. The best part is giving them their check at the end. When someone sells with me, that bought with me, 3-4 years ago, and I get to send them off this island with, $50, $80, $100,000, knowing that for most of my clients, they weren't really thinking about buying a house before they talked to me, but I was able to get to them and give them information that educated them on this as an option, and it being realistic, and them trusting me to help them through the process, and then getting to give them that huge life-changing money. Giving someone that life-changing reward after they've trusted you to help them through such a big, exciting, scary, very adult decision is epic. Thanks, guys. Like, follow, subscribe.